Daddy Trump and Obama are really behind the scenes or eating dinner and drinking champagne.
And we're live. All right, so this episode is going to be about government distractions, unless we tangent off into the universe. But yeah, so government distractions. So I know consuming different media, you'll see different things and have some sort of emotional reaction, or it gets you to think about it, right? So there's been times where I've caught myself, I watched a thing and I either get pissed off or curious, but generally the pissed off thing, especially with like American politics or something along the lines of politics, right?
Yeah.
So, I think TikTok really helped expose this too, because there's just so much there to consume. So you can consume anything, left, right, middle, whatever it is. But there definitely is a lot of potential propaganda and potential red herrings, where it's like a false thing that's there that you can see, but it's not really the thing that you should be looking at, kind of a thing. So I've once I've realized this, I've actually been trying to tell my dad and like other people that I know are like really polarized from listening to talk radio or whatever news they watch. And
You tell your dad what?
To understand the feelings that he has from these different things, right? So if he watches a riot or something, I don't know, but try to look at the feelings that he gets after watching a certain video.
Sure.
And think about, is it there just to rile you up, and could it be faked? Could it be could it be exaggerated?
Yeah, so you're trying to like tell your dad, like, really think about what you're getting emotional about.
Yeah, so like still consume it, sure, right? If that's what you subscribe to, sure, but instead of
behind
just
the scenes.
Yeah, and not just my dad, right? But like in general, it's the people I've talked to, like, they consume whatever media, and they just they think hard one way about it, and that's the outcome, and this is how I feel about it, and I can't believe those people are idiots, or whatever they might say. And if you take a step back and look at the situation, look at how it could be twisted, not only local to whatever is happening, twisted on media, twisted on social media, right? So like we can have a 10-second clip, right, that might show full context of let's say how a fight starts. Yeah. But then if you only show the last 7 seconds of that clip, well, you don't see why one person is swinging on the other. You just see this other guy getting hit or whatever, right? So things can be like extorted and leveraged in ways just to generate feelings. I think that's how politics are really leveraged, especially in our country. But on top of that, for social media engagement, the more outlandish or the more exaggerated something is, the more crazy it might get more people to click on it, because they're, I can't believe this happened. Did you see this? Like when the what we were talking about, the Marshawn Lynch thing happened, right? When I saw that video, I showed my wife instantly. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a problem, right? So yeah. So what kind of experience do you have with any of that?
Well, I'm just thinking about 9/11. The whole time you're talking about how a lot of people think it's a conspiracy. And
it's not.
And that they use that to basically start a war for oil rights, or you look at some people could say like the whole border crisis right now that Trump's hitting is a conspiracy to make you focus on these group of people when something else is going on. Ukraine war, So if you're talking about political, using, they basically, it's like saying like, we want you to look over here, not look over here.
Yeah. So like, if we take another step back, do we know the news is actually showing us all of the news or all of the events that are happening, or are they just cherry picking, stuff that fits with their agenda? Right?
Well, you ever see that video where they have like all the news channels in like America on like little squares on the TV, and they're all saying the same thing?
I wouldn't say all the news channels,
but
I believe it's all except for like Fox, right? So it's generally the leftist news stations. And yeah, like you're saying, there's, and this happened recently, but there's like 20 squares of different newscasters or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're all literally saying word for word the same thing, and they can time it to where it's like all synced up pretty much. Then we have something else that happened recently was the politicians, which this one's kind of weird, which makes sense nowadays, but the politicians are saying basically the same thing. They have their like different tones and personalities spins on it, but they all say basically the same thing.
Yeah, I would say the most recent one, where if we're talking about swaying people to believe something, I'd say COVID-19 was a huge sway, making you believe in COVID-19.
I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that.
Well, I think it was clearly it was a man-made thing, the Chinese virus, sir, and I think that made us sway to focus.
You're telling me some random bat that probably made its way into somebody's rice bowl isn't the cause of COVID-19?
100%.
Yeah, the COVID-19. I mean,
dude, think
there's
about
so much content of where you can talk.
Oh,
about
we can make a whole podcast about that. But that, I think, was used to sway people in a direction when there's something else going on behind the scenes. Of some people were saying that they were trying to tank the economy, so that way they could get more control over people, because it makes you more desperate you need the government more.
Around that time, there was definitely some
human rights were taken away.
New World Order discussions happening. Like you're gonna have less, and you're gonna be fine with it. I forget who said that, but that was among a. It was like in a conference of like a bunch of quote unquote important people, like Bill Gates might be there, kind of a thing. But they were testing how much they could get away with. People could say. I mean, think about it, like your rights were taken away. You wore a mask. If you didn't, you were looked at. It's like, so your freedom was taken away, but not your free will.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like Hitler and the Jews, man. If you didn't have your Nazi star on, you were screwed. If you didn't have that mask on, if you didn't
have your mask on, if you didn't have the jab, you could potentially not have a job anymore.
My wife's a nurse, and they were like forcing her to get the jab to work. Yeah, she had to.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, no, she had to against her own will.
Yeah,
so, which is ridiculous. I mean, COVID-19, man, it's crazy how fast we got over that. And
if it's something that legit had a higher fatality rate, that had nothing to do with comorbidities, like if somebody's obese or they have other issues that's already there, right? But if it's something that's like, oh man, it is going to kill like most of the earth basically, then yeah, jab me up, right? But it didn't seem right, especially if you get COVID, you beat it, you're not fatal, right? And you're supposed to have the antibodies once you naturally fight it, but they're saying, oh no, you still need the jab. That doesn't make any sense.
Look, if you're on the side of this where you believing that COVID-19 was a man-made thing, and you're believing that it was made for whatever cause you think,
give a like and subscribe.
Give a like and subscribe. Think about that mindset is basically saying the government or American government, or you call it the Chinese virus, was willing to kill citizens willingly. And if you were able to believe that COVID-19 was a real thing that was man-made, well, what's to say that not any other conspiracy, 9/11, isn't it, man? It wasn't a setup. I know. It's sad and it's crazy to think about because we want to think that USA, our government's got our back, America. But I mean, if you look at the history, I keep going back to war. The money that's made, that we make off of war. Like look at Ukraine. All the fraud they're finding right now with Ukraine
and who's getting the kickbacks.
Yeah, you know? I mean the fraud, dude. Like,
and that's all overarching. The poor people that are fighting the war. Maybe they're patriots, maybe they're forced to. I don't know everybody's situation. But then you have civilians that are dying because of it. You have infrastructure. You have just complete lives uprooted, ruined. They might have to immigrate somewhere else, or they might stay there, but it's awful.
Yeah, I mean...
And the government is okay with doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody in the government, but it sure does seem like it happens a lot. And the CIA, the FBI, I think it's more CIA, though, for other countries. Like, they completely disrupt other countries just for our financial and authoritative benefits, right? Like... I don't even. There's too many. Like that. That'd be a whole thing in itself. But yeah, we're completely okay with disrupting all other countries as long as it's for not only America. I would say for the actual department, like the CIA or whatever these other departments are that do this kind of stuff, and they just think that they have free reign. Like the Pentagon, again, can't balance their checkbooks basically or show where the money went. And people say. It could be because top secret, whatever, but like, you should be able to account for all of that to some clearance.
Yeah, right? And here's my frustration with the COVID thing too is like, you're gonna even Trump or the Republican side of this would say it's the Chinese virus trying to cause. Okay, well if that's the case, there's no repercussion for that. You guys,
China.
Yeah, you're not gonna do anything about it. Like. We're kind of just gonna like blame it on them and like, but how many American lives were lost or lives lost in other countries? Like it's weird. It's just weird how like the world kind of just like let it go.
And it's weird.
But like if you think about it, if China did this, whether it's a mistake or not a mistake, I don't know what you believe, but that's an act of war. You're killing another country's citizens.
I think it was Fauci's lab that had either a quote unquote accident or could have been on purpose. Maybe I don't know. We don't know, but
it's the whole thing with the pharmaceutical companies.
China waited way too long to let everybody know, hey, there is a big problem over here.
Wow.
And the reason being, if China is the only one that's affected, China falls behind every other country. Mostly financially because China's got to shut down and every other country is, still going.
Or you can say that Fauci, it's the pharmaceutical belief of making money off its citizens, saying you need this vaccine or else you're gonna die.
No, I'm pretty sure that's clear. I mean, maybe not to everybody, but that is extremely clear. The amount of advertisement Pfizer's doing, to make sure everybody goes for theirs. There's been connections now to the what the hell is it called? What's the shot called?
The COVID?
No, the
what, the vaccine?
Yeah, vaccine space. So
yeah,
people or companies that are making vaccines, they're not liable if stuff happens, and they literally push this stuff out knowing that they know that there's some percentage of fatality or harm, right? But they're willing to take
side effects.
Take those risks.
Mm-hmm.
They make a boatload of money, and if they need to pay people off, which that is a history of Pfizer, they've done it before, then they pay people off, but they still have a net gain for money. That's something I think I see RFK is actually trying to push to make it to where they are liable. I don't know how deep that's going to get, but that's going to be a big win because, even if you agreed with the COVID vaccine shot, you agreed with the masks, all this kind of stuff, right? If let's say you buy a car and they knew the engine was going to fail, when you drove it, and by the time you got to your house, the engine failed. Are you going to be mad at the car dealership that knew, or are you going to be mad at, whatever else, right? Like whoever is doing this stuff out of potential malice should be held accountable.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, like, we would like, in America, would like to think that our healthcare system is an honest thing where they're trying to, but like, it's like if they wanted to cure cancer, they would have cured cancer. My wife's a type 1 diabetic. She survives every day because of insulin. The insulin is hecka expensive. The supplies hecka expensive, and they know that.
And in other countries, it's not.
Yeah, and they know that. So it's all about money, and then it's about money. And you talk about swaying people. I think COVID is like the biggest one, because my personal opinion on it is it was to control, and it has an evil background to it.
It was definitely a flex to see how far they can go. I heard of stuff about like population control as well. It seems like we're definitely exponentially growing past the resources that we have available to us. And what's weird about that is even though we have a pretty big growth rate, we're not making enough kids to follow up with that. So I think we're seeing our generations like boom or whatever, but like our generation now not really having kids. Like, you guys had kids, we're still not having kids, and I'm 35, and she's 32 now, I think. 32, yeah, somewhere in there. Really bad with birthdays. But yeah, so
yeah,
consuming content and feeling a certain way about it. What's an example that is something that you've seen or heard and you're just like, what the heck, why is this happening, kind of a thing, but maybe you thought about it deeper later on and could see like some context behind it or something like that?
So you're saying like politically, or like just
anything?
Yeah.
No. So something I see pretty often, so we have content, so much content, nobody can consume all of it, right? There's just so much of it. It's everywhere. And I see these shows on like prime time television, whatever that's called anymore, on cable.
Yeah.
Where it's like The Masked Singer or whatever these other shows are. And it is supposed to be entertainment. But the more I see this kind of stuff, the more I just see it as like a brain dead pacification of like wasting your time. So you get home, you might do whatever you need to do, some things that you need to do before dinner, then you get dinner done. As you're eating dinner or after, you're watching the show with the wife or the friends, whatever it is. And it's like,
yeah,
these shows, I mean, yeah, they can be entertaining, but some of it, it's just so brain rot. And there's a new one. I forget what it's called, but it's like, what the hell is that one movie? It's just so like futuristic with the makeup and the clothing styles. Like, they're just really trying to be like a clickbait, YouTube thumbnail where it's like, you're going to click it because it's just so wild, right? You haven't seen something like that. And it's just, I don't know. It's just,
well, I'm the worst example of this, because I fall into this category of watching shows. I mean, I watch a lot of TV, and I do think that TV is at its like highest point that's ever been in history.
TV,
like
or streaming?
TV, like Netflix.
No.
Well, because
cable TV. So you're talking about Netflix.
But
and other
what I'm
streaming.
getting at is with TV, like say Netflix, cable, whatever it may be, whatever your niche may be, whatever your show may be, is it's a way for you to put your mind on this and not on this. It's like, have you ever heard the term about football, NFL? So back in Rome, they had their arena, they had the Colosseums, they had the battles. People would die. Christians would die. They'd kill them, or the animals. Crazy things would happen in the Colosseum. Right? Thousands of people would come and watch. So that was like their sport. That was their NFL. In America, we have the NFL now, football, every Sunday. Think about it.
And soon soccer, thanks to Daddy Trump.
Yeah. But if you look at it from the perspective of why, you have all these events, thousands and thousands of people every Sunday are watching football. Well, if you really think about it, so it's puts your mind on football and now what's really going on. So it keeps you like on football.
Well, and that okay,
right?
so that what I think you're getting at is like pacification, right? So you pacify your mind of what's going on currently in your life or the world, right? So that can be you watching a show, that can be you binge drinking, that can be you playing video games, that can be you doing a lot of other stuff that taps your mind out and you escape. Yeah,
but it can become more of an escape because if you love something like football is generally I think a lot of I would say men or males like or whatever it's probably the most
sir that's a little sexist
or females but the biggest sport in America. All right, we all have like a football team we like. Most men watch football or whatever it is you watch.
Yeah.
And like for me, I love football. I love the Niners. I love it so much that I'll spend throughout my week watching Niner podcasts, what's going on with the Niners, that's a way of making me think about that, pacification, whatever you want to call it, but it's taking my mind, it's taking me off of what really bigger going on outside of the world. And it's a lot of, like it's like you said, like yes, they use TV, they like cable, like you were saying, news broadcasting to control what we're thinking about, keeping our minds off of what's really going on. True, but it's also a self-inflicted thing too, like how do you live your life? And like a lot of people don't, want to take the time to, after they work, come home and read a book on finances or how to grow this or how to do this, how to do that. Because it's like, it's not as fun as watching a Netflix episode.
It's definitely not as fun, and you can get more. You can get more value out of consuming content.
Sure.
Or maybe instead of value, knowledge, right? So if you read a book, what's cool about reading books, and it's weird because every time I've read books, I've actually really enjoyed it, but I haven't done it in forever.
Yeah.
And what's cool about books is you're reading what the author, you're taking in the information the author wants you to know.
Well,
and there's possibilities, and the possibilities come from your imagination. So, yeah, they might describe like the main character as whatever.
Yeah.
But then you're also adding your like flavor, whatever comes up in your mind about that.
Yeah.
That actually makes it like that much more captivating.
Well, it's not even just that. It's if you're trying to say it's a skill of you want to be a millionaire, you want to be a chef, or how to win in gardening.
Hell yeah.
Sean,
let's go.
You're taking someone's years of experience and you're putting it into one book, and I can read that one book in a week and then read someone else's book in a week, where it took that person a lifetime or have months or years.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's obviously knowledge and gain in a book.
I think having books, it's a way to go back. That's always going to be, let's catch it on fire or something. It's always going to be there. Whenever the grid goes down, the books will be there, right? But
people, I feel like, and this kind of, if you think about life itself, especially in America, what people, this isn't to kind of say the separation of classes. You have the lower class, middle class, and the upper class. The upper class people are I would say arguably aren't spending their time, a lot of the time, watching TV, sports. They're spending their time reading books, gaining knowledge, life lessons, learning how to get better, how to personally grow. And lower class people are probably coming home watching Netflix, or middle class people. I'm not saying that upper class people don't do this, but you'll find more successful people are doing self-inflicting knowledge.
So I have some friends that.
But look at if you look at it from the perspective of mind control, the government, because we're talking about how people get controlled.
Or we're talking about the man keeping us down now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But lower class people are controlled by all these things that upper class people pull themselves out of.
I know some different ranges of like more wealthy where it's like they're way above where we're at, right?
Sure.
And some of them like way, way, way above that.
Sure.
They definitely, it's like watching TV or like watching, let's call it like Breaking Bad, right? That's a thing where it's kind of like going to the movies where it's a once in a blue moon thing, but it's more about, you know, was this thing taken care of for the business? You know, they definitely have their leisure time, but it's not sitting and watching seasons and episodes of things where you know you got to try to get through all of them, and you can't wait to get home with each other to watch these episodes, and sleep as well.
Yeah,
I've noticed, it's not all of them, but some of my more like prosperous friends or family, they definitely can sacrifice sleep. Where some people, it's like, oh, you know, I'm just so tired. Which honestly, I say that all the time. I do. I do feel like I'm tired all the time. But you know, some people just don't do stuff because they're too tired. But the people that win, like I feel like, hey, if they get 5 hours, they're lucky, and they just go, right? But yeah, definitely a common theme between all of them is not a lot of TV.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I feel like a way people get distracted, like kind of like what we're talking about, is they less knowledge and they put it in someone else's hands. And what I mean is like, I was watching this podcast the other day where the guy was like, hey, like, you know, we go to a bank, we basically a banker to use our transactions, but we don't go read a financial book or use financial literacy, learn for ourselves accounting and stuff. Or we would just had a podcast about home improvement and doing things around the house. People would just call a plumber in, or they'll call an electrician, rather than just learn how to do it themselves. Yeah. Because I mean,
I will say,
and so,
there is some merit to just calling the guy if you don't have any tools.
I mean, it's not for everybody.
Financially, that's an uphill battle, but the more tools you acquire, the easier it gets.
Yeah, but my point is we've gotten to this point where I would even just call it trust, right? We trust.
You got the guy. You got the mechanic, right?
We trust the government because we're talking about mind control. We trust other people. We trust the government to handle the situation.
Mind control? Who's talking about mind control?
Well, you think about mind control, like I said, COVID-19. It's all about control.
I think control. Yeah. So there's definitely distractions, diversion, ways for you to waste your time, which I think both of us have some kind of idea of.
It's like the puppet.
Exactly what I was going to say is you've got, you know, a lot of people know the term deep state, right? So if deep state wants to continue to try to control the masses, they're going to try to pacify them however they can. Right?
Look, if you're in the perspective of this, on the side of this, where you believe that there's some that you have the U.S. government, and behind the U.S. government you have someone really controlling the X's and O's.
Like and subscribe.
You know, there's no greater argument than what we're seeing right now for that. And there's like I said, dude, COVID, that's some dark stuff to think about. I mean, and you talk about any conspiracy theory that you can come up with, where you have 9/11. Some people don't think we've been to the moon. That was all a hoax. So and all these conspiracies, you know, like mind control.
There's a theory about TikTok. So I remember back in the day, I don't know when TikTok first came out, but I know that the government said it's a risk and it's China made, it's still in your information, all this kind of stuff. I remember, I think Rush Limbaugh was still alive, and he was talking about it. I know Sean Hannity talked about it, and you know they basically say the same thing, that you shouldn't be on the app, this and that. So the government was going to ban TikTok. Recently, I guess they did for like 10 hours or something silly. And Trump is like, you know what? We're gonna make a deal, and I'm gonna work with whatever the owner of TikTok is, and he's gonna sign because he basically has to. And they figured it out. Now, when TikTok, so before TikTok came back online, there's another like Chinese version of TikTok, which I forget what it's called, but that one's supposed to be even more malicious. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's funny how much of a need people have for content like TikTok. And the more you scroll, the more you doom scroll, right? The less attention span you gain over time. You actually like destroy your attention span by doing that, and you just get quick hits of dopamine by going to the next thing, next thing, right? So I actually downloaded the other app. I thought it was awful. I just uninstalled that, but I still had TikTok installed on mine. And what people were saying is when TikTok was saved by Daddy Trump and it's back up and you can get on it again. So one, everybody's freaking out. Then all of a sudden, oh my God, we're back. Everybody, we're back. But what's weird about it is it seemed like the algorithm changed. And a lot of the stuff like content like the train with a bunch of chemicals that tipped over and ruined that city, all that content's like not showing up anymore. You have the hurricane disaster recently that, you know, we're just letting people basically, you know, freeze or starve to death. You know, FEMA's not helping them. All that's kind of not on TikTok anymore. So Trump saved it. But what's really behind all this? Because it really did, and it's still, ever since that, I don't really doom scroll on TikTok anymore. I look at Twitter and maybe Reddit sometimes, but TikTok's not the same. And I think what the people thought was TikTok was a way to get information to everybody. So even some people in other countries can say, hey, this is happening. News isn't capturing this, like Ukraine, right? Hey, we're getting artillery shelled by Russia. News isn't capturing this. So here it is on TikTok. Here's a building that just literally blew up, right? And now a lot of that kind of stuff isn't popping up. And it's just like, I want to believe who's currently in office and the team, but I don't know if it's directly him that's pulling whatever strings, but if media, so we know they're exaggerating, we know they're cherry picking, so they must also be shutting down or hiding information, and that is plain as day happening right in front of our face, what they did with TikTok. I'm sure there are more specifics that can elaborate more on, but yeah, that was enough to just make me stop going on there, really. Sometimes I do, you know, a few funny videos, but really it's about the Twitter and Reddit for me. That's my...
Yeah.
Especially Twitter, because Twitter with the... which I believe Facebook has this now, their Meta, whatever it's called, but Twitter has a thing where a bunch of people can say, hey, this is right or wrong, and here's sources, right? So that's a way for the citizens to figure out if somebody's posting bullshit or somebody's posting legit stuff, which I think is like the best way to do it. You can have like Wikipedia where it's like, I'm going to write all this information, but it can be ran or modded by people with an agenda. But TikTok, there's going to be every part of the spectrum on Twitter or X. But then you have people holding them accountable by citing references and saying, well, no, actually you're full of shit, you know? So
what do you think about this whole distraction thing? Do you think the government is distracting people? Do you think it's beyond politics? Do you think it
well, it's for sure money, right? Money, power, politics. I think it all ties together. It's the more you click on the certain side, the more you're going to see of that certain side.
Sure. But is that just
the less informed you are of whatever thing is happening, you know?
But the clicking. So the thing with the algorithm thing, is that a control thing, or is that just the way it was set up?
conveniently, it's explained that's just the way it was created, and that's how it's going to continue to do that because everything's based off of ad revenue. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. I think.
That's for social media and that's for technology. But what about the events?
Different like news events or something?
Like I said, 9/11, COVID. Do you think there is a dark secret to all these things where they are trying to? Well, things have happened in the past.
Well, there's that website.
There's honesty to these things.
Yeah, there's that website that'll show you left, show you right, show you center, and the spins that each one takes. Sure. For sure, there are different spins. And with those spins, sometimes they conveniently leave certain aspects of it out.
Do you think there is a new world order type thing going on, like COVID-19? Do you think there is a dark secret behind it, where there is?
It seems like the rich got a lot richer and the poor got a lot poorer. So it seems like they are creating some kind of a divide or a bigger divide.
Sure.
It looks as if crypto is going to have a much larger foothold in the near future. But who's to say on that? I think everything's really going to come down to network security. Once AI and potentially quantum is in the wrong hands, I think that's going to disrupt like everything, like the whole world. So
you would say that the government is not honest or as it seems.
I mean, I think most people would say that, yeah.
Sure.
Governments.
So they're not out for our best interest.
I think most people would say that too. They might say certain figures are more for their interest, and how could you say that about this person? Because clearly they like them, so why wouldn't you, kind of a thing. But yeah.
Well, but what I'm saying is like I said, if you're willing to say COVID-19, because that's the most recent event, is honestly a setup to control the masses, whatever, then you're literally saying that whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that the U.S. government had a dark side to this situation, let it happen. So there is a new world order behind government. That's what you were pretty much saying. Think about it from that perspective.
So there's the quote unquote deep state or puppet masters. It's more of a conglomeration of entities that have like-minded interests that just happen to be shoving us, further and further down, kind of a thing.
Yeah, but it's like the argument to be made where the government wants Republican and Democrats to have different viewpoints, strong different viewpoints. We go at it, we discuss it, we argue about it, we yell at each other about it, fight about it, because it makes us focus on each other's differences than what's really going on. So politics, in a sense, whether you believe in it or not, could be the biggest hoax of all time. I have a friend who really truly believes that this is. There's a lot of truth to that, where they think that they want the government. It's like saying like Daddy Trump and Obama are really behind the scenes or eating dinner and drinking champagne and eating cake and ice cream. But on TV,
they hate each other. If politics were merely or only policy and merit, there would be so much less hate, so much less chaos in the world. The events will still happen, but it won't be as exaggerated as they are now. But because they can magnify or focus on certain parts of the event that really gets people riled up, that is a way to, get people, emotionally attached to whatever the idea is, and they're not able, I think in a lot of cases, not able to think clearly about it because it's drawing an emotional, generally anger, I would say, if not fear. I think anger then fear is how it generally goes.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's not to make this a political podcast, but you follow the money It's like Trump. You look at the endorsements that he's getting. If he's getting endorsed by, let's just pretend he's getting endorsed by Pfizer. Well, why is he getting endorsed by Pfizer? What does Pfizer have to gain if Trump was getting endorsed by Pfizer?
Or, right? In reality, I think he got like 400, maybe $500 million. He got, like $500 million from Elon.
Yeah. I mean, what's Elon gaining from this?
Well,
right.
Or what is he sacrificing? You can look at it from both ways.
Sure, but it's like you kind of said, money is the root of all evil. Follow the money. And it's what's really pushing a political person, a leader, to say what they're saying. Well, it's because they got endorsed to say that. They wouldn't be in the position they're in if they didn't get funded to say that. And also you have the political party that you're supposed to be representing to push you to make you say the things you're saying.
So you got these politicians just smiling and waving. Yeah, we're gonna get this done. We're gonna take care of this. Yeah. They get in whatever their seat is, and oh wow, get a little kickback here. Oh, I guess we don't have to do that.
So it could all be it could be a huge hoax, just a nice little puppet show, or you hope for the best. You hope it's not true, and you hope that COVID was really the Chinese virus.
So I think that's a great way to end it. If you think you're part of the puppet show, give us a like and subscribe. But we're going to pump these videos out every other day. Topics are going to be about everything under the sun or the moon, whichever way you look at it. Thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you.